Hey everybody, looks like we're having some technical difficulties today with the connection software that I have to use to get into the computer that runs this stuff. So I'm not really going to be sure what's happening since I don't get to see anything. I guess I can watch one of the streams. What a pain. It's okay, but how frustrating. We do have the chat going and everything, so I will see if anything's happening there, but I'm going to have to hear myself on a delay, which is terrible. Let me see if I can get on the call. No, I can't. I guess I can get on the call. This is truly awful here. I don't understand. See. I can at least hear that stuff. But yeah, I can't control it. So I get to leave the room when I do it. Sorry that I'm not on camera. We use a couple different pieces of software and both of them seem to need to be updated. I don't know why I'm blocked for I don't know how long I'm blocked on the one thing. So, let's see if I can find the login for this. Oy. I don't know about using the two different systems. I've got a Mac in here. And it seems to be fine, but we use the PCs way more. And I feel like they're more reliable for me. I don't know, Derek actually logs in with a Mac on his, so I don't know. Let's see. Hey, I'll be able to at least hear. Fantastical. Okay, yeah, I won't be able to control anything, so you're going to get down cam for the whole time, I think. Let me get my ears plugged in. I can't hear any music because I couldn't get that working. It works perfectly fine, but in our software that we use, there's a miniature I didn't paint, Prime. The software that we use, I don't know, it's just crazy. Everything's weird. So we use some streaming software, and actually, it's pretty great. It handles calls really well, but for some reason, there's something wrong with the browser. Poppets for palettes. Huh. I don't know what that is. Oh, I see. Yes. What do they call these? Well, this is Adam Smasher, Tabletop Minions, was the one that told me about it. He we were at Gen Con and he told me about it, and then it was in one of his videos like a week or two later, and I was like, this is great. I had actually already ordered it. But I think it's really good when you're doing contrast paints, because it's a small amount of stuff. I normally use a wet palette. Hey, thanks for the follow, Kadeem. I can hear that stuff, hooray. So I like it because I can mix, I have, number one, it cleans really easy, and number two, I can mix a small amount of paint with the technical, contrast medium, and it doesn't have a wet palette, because I love a wet palette. I don't even know where mine is. Oh, there it is. I have I have a bunch of wet palettes, but this is my most recent one. It is a red grass wet palette. They do not. I need a new sponge. I have a spare sponge, but I'd like another sponge. I always want to have one spare one. But I don't like putting, I've done it. I put contrast paints on the wet palettes. Hey, Kabuki Kid. Yeah, I put contrast paints on the palettes, but I don't actually prefer to do that, because what ends up happening is it dilutes it in a way that I don't think contrast paints are meant to be diluted. Anyway, I worked on Silk, and she turned out great. For what I'm doing, I'm trying not to go too crazy. Somebody had mentioned that I should do the grass, and they're 100% correct. So I did that, worked on the ground a little bit. You can see I was airbrushing and stuff earlier today. But I think it looks cool. I did a little bit of highlighting on the text, and it should be great. So I need to keep saying prime, varnish that, And then I primed minis today. Started a while ago and then got carried away painting, or I'd have been on time. Hey, Gator Dave. We have played Flamecraft on the show with the painted stuff. So this is, these are minis from the Spider-Geddon, Marvel United Spider-Geddon. And so I primed these. I'm not 100% satisfied with how light the final white is. It's very gray. So I'll have to do another coat of the white before I'm done. I think. A few of them might be okay. But usually, I usually let them dry a while, and I did before I did the white. But I don't think it's enough, so sadly, I will need to get those going. So I actually meant to prime these as well. I think I cleaned everything. I've been also cleaning minis. I spent a little bit of time cleaning these today, and I think I did okay. I also have to be paying attention to my phone, unfortunately. We have a FedEx shipment that has been delayed 3 days in a row. So, delayed as in quotation marks. They've actually, they have claimed they've attempted delivery. We're here. It's the silliest thing ever. We absolutely are here. I don't know what's going on. A signature is required, and it has been raining, so maybe that's it. So, I primed this one here, Penny Parker, and I used metallics, not for everything. And I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks. I'm not 100% satisfied with this gold. I probably should have gone with a yellow. We shall see. It is a yellow. Oh, it's a yellow. It's one of the Iandon yellow. It's cool. I'm following this model has definitely changed since it was manufactured. Since it was when it was kickstarted. There's a bunch of areas that don't have, it's milled out, or it's like a real mechanical thing. It needs to have a way to rotate into this, so it's actually got a hole, but they didn't do that. But the weird thing is this is very matte when the red looks pretty great. Now it's a little dark on the legs. I tried, so I dry brush. Let me show you the Iron Man. I dry brush this one, and I think ultimately it's probably the better choice. Nightbot's okay. I didn't change that Kabuki kit. I'll change it. But yeah, I dry brushed this one for metallics. Let me just put this down. And I think it looks pretty great. So you can see I didn't do the splash. That was dry brushed as well, but not metallics. And I think it works out pretty good. Wow, I never remember how to do this in... I have it. I've now got it figured out mostly. I'm talking about the changing the Nightbot. Let's see here. Silly stuff. I really wish that I was trying. So we have no music. And I kept trying, and I realized that it probably needs an update. That which is crazy. I think Derek checks on the software that we use, but we don't have it. And I could not get it to work. I tried everything. I'm like, it wouldn't, the mouse wouldn't work. Oops, this is bad. Oh no, you guys can't see this, thank goodness. Me badly typing here. But I don't understand what's going on. It's so much weird stuff. And we also haven't really had that much, we've had so many troubles, technical issues, that we're always getting started late. I don't even know we had problems the other day, and we tried everything and finally got it working, but oh man, it was terrible. Let me get a shortcut to the game. But I'm really excited about painting all this stuff and getting it done. I would really like to get the whole thing. I think April is when the Other ones are coming, and I would really like to get those done ASAP so that I have that ready to get started on those, because I believe it's a bunch of minis on that one. Wow, you know what? I'm using a Mac. Remember to do this. Command C. Hey, it looked like it worked. Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out. So you can see, I think this looks pretty good. I mean, again, it's, you know, it's dry brushed. I'm not 100% satisfied. I think I cannot remember which yellow I used. I really probably should not use this one, which is ironed-in yellow. The other ones are just so yellow. So here's the three that I have. I don't have any. I need to check out the Army Painter Speed Paints, but these are the 4 yellows that I have. And I use this one a lot because when you thin it down, it's a pretty great gold and yellow, but one of these might have been a better one. I mean, this is not truly a contrast paint, I don't feel. And probably this one isn't either. These are probably single pigment. But these two have multiple pigments. And this one has been shaken up, but I don't know. I really don't know what I want to do on all that stuff. But I should experiment with them more and see which ones I might like. I know I like this one. I mean, I'm on my second bottle of this. I did spill a bunch of it, but I am on my second bottle. Derek's like, it's not Derek's fault. We've been trying, but we also, whenever we're running late, you know, and it's frustrating. We keep running into issues, and we're all, you know, freaking out. I need to use some of the fresh contrast medium. I have one other bottle that's kind of evaporated, so it's thicker, and I feel it's not thin enough. And I don't know what I can. I mean, obviously, I could probably use a little bit of distilled water if necessary. I do not want to stick that back in there. But it'll be thinner. So what happens is with the contrast paint is it generally keeps the color of the paint when you use this contrast medium. It just, I mean, it's not really the color because it is much lighter, and this will probably be lighter, but it really kind of needs it. But I really wish we had a little time to fiddle with the systems on this stuff because, hey, I got Alexa talking to me now too. Everything's going today. It's not Friday, so I don't know what they're telling me today. But yeah, the FedEx thing has been no fun. I've contacted, so I did get the other brushes. I bought some other Saks brushes. This is a 2 white Taklon or silver Taklon. I think it's white because these are golden Taklon. Here's the other one that's a 2. These are both 2s. I just decided to try them both. They're both good. This one here had a couple of errant hairs that I think when they put I believe this is the one that was on it. When they put this on it, folded a couple of the hairs, and that's a bummer. Again, all you do is cut it right at the ferrule and it's fine. But they both were good. I painted a bunch with this one on Friday, and I was painting with these today, the golden Taklon ones. And I think they're good. They're not the greatest brushes ever, but they're pretty inexpensive when you buy them in these packs. They're 6 for about $5 or so, maybe $6. And I think they do a good job. So this paint here is, did I put it away? No, I did not put it away. It's sitting right here. Here it is. This is the metal medium. This is an older bottle of it, but it's not that old. They've just changed all of their packaging. Their stuff looks like this now. I actually really love these new bottles. They're clear. They don't feel, I mean, you know, it's a different type of plastic, but they feel pretty solid. I have this and something else, I think, one other bottle of this. So I would love to try to get these bottles, like, you know, to decant some of these paints into them, because the ones that I purchased are not the same size as these. They're not. This is Vallejo. This is Army Painter. You know, they're about the same diameter, but they don't fit in racks. The ones that I bought don't fit in the racks for for those types of paints, and they don't have one that does work. So I use this as kind of like the silver, the bright silver. I used a tiny bit of it here on this edge just to see how it would look. I probably will just go in and do some of that. But what I'm going to do is just continue with the red as I have it. You know, see, this doesn't look great. It's because it's not very bright. So what I probably should do is, actually, maybe I can just try painting some of that on. I like to airbrush those types of things because the glow is nice. Now I used airbrush thinner on this to thin it because metallics are weird. I don't love mixing them. You might not remember, but I was the guy that stopped you and said hello halfway in the hallway at Gen Con before you went to the food truck area. Hey, Matthew, awesome. I think I recall you because I think we were kind of shocked to go out there. And we were we were wondering how busy it was going to be. If it was the first time we ran into you, that we went down there, it was not very busy, and we were worried for the vendors there, like how busy it would be. And then the next time we went down there, it was crazy. So I loved it down there. Let's see, have you played Marvel United? I love Marvel United. I mean the games. This is Gateway Gamer runs through on YouTube. I love it. It's a light game, and the funny thing is you'd think, oh, it's probably easy family game. My mom had a bunch of trouble with it. And you know, she's, you know, older, but she plays Ticket to Ride on her own, you know, without us and with us. But she couldn't get it. We were trying to play it in 2021 on a stream, Scott and I, with my mom, and that just was, she just couldn't get it. And I was like, wow. Now, she had a fall earlier that summer. And so, because Nikki was away in Minneapolis, I believe. And so we ended up just doing her turns for her. But I love the game. I own too much of the stuff. I bought, I think everything. You know, I'm sure I missed some stuff, like there's been some promo cards and stuff like that. But as far as the Kickstarters go, I've got I think the last two had an all-in, and I just did that because I wasn't going to originally. I told myself I can't keep buying all this stuff. But I love the minis. I think they do a nice job on it. The game is fun. I'm trying to get this done because I'd actually like to do this one. It's finally coming out. I actually got a copy of this. I bought it at Gen Con. And they were saying it was going to be October, but it has been delayed. So I think it's just finally fulfilling. Not, you know, it wasn't a Kickstarter, so it shouldn't be fulfilling. It's just now shipping and getting into stores, which is unfortunate, kind of late, you know. But, so now, what do I do on here? I feel like this is just not... I can airbrush it later, I suppose. That's already drying with a good amount of thinner in there, airbrush thinner. Do you have an all-time favorite Kickstarter you backed? Me? Well, probably Marvel United. I haven't backed that many games. I have backed, according to Kickstarter, I backed, you know, a couple hundred games, but Nikki got into playing cards, like custom design, you know, nice playing cards. And I think I need the distilled water here. So we bought a lot of that for a while, and then we just ran out, realized we don't have any more space for that kind of stuff. And so, let's get this adjusted here. So we stopped buying those, backing those. There's some great stuff out there still, but my frustration was they mostly didn't do the whole deck. You know, if Nikki would want like custom art, wow, I got red on that. She'd want custom art for the whole deck, and so not a lot of them do that. They would do just the court cards. But I've backed plenty. I mean, I've backed some pretty great Kickstarters that weren't games. And I love that. You know, I mean, I'm a big fan of using Kickstarter to get things going. We've done camera stuff and As a matter of fact, today I was looking, Nikki was using a rolling pin that I backed probably 8 years ago. It was KDM, or no, that can't be right. Something, an aluminum rolling pin, and she, of course, uses it a lot during the, Christmas time. And she just was saying how much she loved it. And wondered if they actually ever got sold, sold in stores. I don't know if they get sold in stores, but you can buy the rolling pins. They still make and sell them. Hers is blue, but it's awesome. Ah, Shia, is that the one from Madigo / I can't remember. I think it might be. But yeah, this is, I mean, it looks cool. And what I'll probably do is come in and do some highlights. I tried to do some here prior to painting. And I may come back, as I said, and just paint all of this brighter so that the gold. So come over it with some more silver. Well, let's just do a little bit of it here on this side. Just so we can see what it would look like if we like it. I mean, it can be a different side now. You can see this is much more like a white. Now, I feel you have to build it up. Now, also, there should be, I would like to do some highlights. I end up doing Ultraman in the base set, just painting it silver, because I couldn't do a like I do non-metallic metal NMM stuff, but I don't feel it for what I'm doing. It's not so great. If I do like I watch videos all the time, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I've done some of it, and I think it's okay, but when I'm trying to do something this large for me, I'm just never satisfied. So to build it up, I basically have to put some on and then let it dry. But I would really like the gold to, and here's the deal, if I paint this white over it, I can absolutely try one of the other colors. The problem is I don't think this paint's even thin enough. It feels cakey already. Although it has, as I said, it seems to be drying already, so I probably should put a little more thinner in there. I did love the silver that I used. I don't have enough bottles of the, what do they call it? Vallejo acrylic metal color airbrush paints. They have a lot of silvers and like one gold. And they're definitely nice paints. It's an airbrush paint, so it's really ready to roll. Although it was, I was having a hard time being subtle with it. I felt this was too much silver ultimately. That's why I think maybe the dry brush method is the way to go. Yipes. So I did the same thing here where I was trying to do like a highlight below, and it was not coming out that great. Like it was, as I was saying, I think this undercoat of silver. Now I actually have a silver primer from Badger, and I should try using it just to see what it's like. But I do know, I mean, I feel these colors look pretty awesome. The contrast paints over metallics, they come out really interesting. Oh, it's kind of weird not having the music playing. But yeah, you can see this is just, it's flat. Hey, did I get silver on there? I think I did. You got to be careful with contrast paints because they come off pretty easily. I've only had, I think, one instance where I was over-handling the miniature and took off the contrast paint. So I was like, well, I got to be careful of that. So we have several bands here. Boy, it really looks like I'm being sloppy. I think that undercoating thing I did was bad. Usually that works for me, but I've never done it with the airbrush metallic underneath it. But you want your paint to go thin, on thin, because it doesn't, see, it's doing it. It starts to get cakey. So let's do a little bit more of the silver, the thinner. I do have a lot of it. I end up buying like a big bottle and then a small bottle so I could have a dropper to put into, I actually have more control too. To put it into like the airbrush and things like that, I use it as, you put a couple drops in before you start your airbrush and it will thin it out and just get you going. I use either that, if I'm using, depends on the paint I'm using, but I'll use metallics or I'll use distilled water. I mean, I'll use the airbrush thinner or distilled water to basically prime the airbrush, and then I start airbrushing. Flat surfaces do kind of suck, Matthew. It is not great. I think I know which game you guys are talking about, Shia. I have not tried it yet. Legends of a Drift System. Okay. Nice. Yeah, part of me is, the reason why I don't back them so much is mostly I back things that we're going to do on GameNight. And if there's a chance that it's not going to come to retail, we don't really like to do those games. I mean, we did do Foundations of Rome, and you know that version's never coming to retail, I guess. And the one that I mean, you know, if a store bought it, that's a different story. But they have a new version coming out that's it's not this, I mean, I think it is the same basic game, but it's a bummer because, you know, I think that's a game people would love, and it's a great kind of advanced sort of tiling, not super advanced tiling game, because it's easy. It's not easy, but understandable. And woof, so that's too thin now, but that's okay. I'll just build it up. Too thin coats, that's what they say. But I hope you're all ready for the holidays and taking time off. If you can, I sure hope you can. I'm trying. I have next week's, we uploaded, we did today's episode for Game Night was Santa's workshop from Elf Creek. And I had fun with that one. Somebody's disappointed that we didn't, including the designer, was disappointed that we didn't do the advanced game. Now, so my understanding was the original version was sort of the advanced game. And I know there's been some changes. But the family version of that game was exciting to Dave. And so we want to try that one, the advanced one. Nikki and I do. We've never played it at all, except for this family level one. Woof, that looks terrible. Let's hope a few more coats will get it thicker. Oh, wow. First game you cut off the sprue and glued together. Wow. Hey, thanks for the follow, Among Us. Among Us Happy Meal 31. Hopefully, wow, I am really having a hard time here. I keep getting silver on this. Do I have it on my hands? It's certainly possible. It's all over the place. And maybe I'm touching that when I'm, you know, I brace it. So I have a couple of different, I have these hobby holders from Game Envy. I backed these when they were not Game Envy. I think they were called hobby holders or something like that. But they have this part here that you can hold to give yourself stability to when you're painting, and I love it. I have other many holders that do that as well. These do not. This is Citadel Games Workshop's latest version of this. This is the older version of it. I think they're both great. I really like the bigger one as far as I feel like in my hand I have probably medium-sized hands that, I don't know, slightly larger. I do have I just got we all did if you backed it on the Kingdom Death. Scott, I didn't actually want to back that. I mean, I really like the minis. I just don't think it's something we're going to get to play. And Scott wanted me to back it so we'd have a second copy. And then, of course, then I think this is, because this is a long time ago, they let you do multiple copies of it. And so he has that. Oh my gosh, everything is crazy on my computer. Like everything's signed off. I don't get it. Why would I be logged out of... Wow. Can't even look at the picture here. So I'm logged... Man, this is ridiculous. Is it the beginning of just... No. Ay. Here we go. I got to fix something just to look at this picture. This is silly. I don't like these computers always having medication bottles. Oh, I do that. I got one right here. And I have where it's not blue tack. Actually, here's a smaller one that has it on here. I use this to airbrush on it. It works pretty good. I mean, all of these are great. I actually have, this is my very first paint handle. It's a piece of dowel that I cut a long time ago and put tack on it. Works great. I think, and this is big. This is a hefty bottle. And then this one here is a little bit narrower. And it's pretty good too. I think any method that I definitely feel a handle of some sort's the way to go. And if you can do things inexpensively, I've just been doing this for so long that I bought everything. Not entirely true, but I bought a lot. And it's just too much. Boy, this is terrible. Everything, all these passports and stuff logging you out while you're using is crazy. But yeah, I have all of these photos for reference on the cloud, which is cool, but I'm on the Mac, I have more trouble with it than I do on the PC. Although having to log in all the time on everything is not exclusive to the Mac or the PC. It's getting worse. Where I use password management software, which is pretty good, and it's just constantly logging out. And I have, a Windows Hello camera, and that does it sometimes, but okay, let's pick the one I need here. Is it going to take me? Okay, at least I didn't leave the folder. That's cool. I don't even remember what I wanted to look at on this. Let's look. Penny looked cool, though. There's something weird here, though. Hey, Wogo Pogo. Thanks for the follow. This is like definitely integrated, and it's not in the design on the original. I don't know what's going on, and I probably will just try to shave it off before I paint her hair, but I was like, oh, maybe that's a clip, barrette, slap a barrette in it. Maybe that's what it is, I don't know, but not great. Okay, so that's got a little bit of dryness. Let's put some more on. I wonder what I was going to look at. Boy, the miniatures for I mean, they're really nice miniatures for Kingdom Death, but the assembly is crazy. I actually haven't assembled anything yet. And Scott's group was doing it for a little while, playing the game, and assembling stuff, but not painting it, of course. You know, that's a lot to do. And so they, I don't know if that stalled them ultimately. You know, maybe you kind of lose the excitement if you're not, I don't know. Some people don't have a problem with it. I love playing with the painted minis. I did paint the minis that I used on we did Marvel United before with the main box, the original box. And I really, you know, Scott and I were painting them during the pandemic on the stream. And I really loved it. I had a great time. I wish I could paint as much as I did. You know, obviously, we didn't have as much to do, so it was fine. But nowadays, we have so much to do. I was saying that we have next week's episode coming out. It's already uploaded, and it will be, it's very long. It will be the longest game night ever. Well, till now anyway. I don't love having games that last that long because they're hard to produce. It took Derek a long while to edit it. We filmed it, my guess is September. And we had a bunch of other things we filmed. We've released some of those things. Recently we put out Potato Man. That was shot a couple days before this one. But you definitely, you know, it just... I don't know that. Wow. I don't know what Alexis thinks is going on here, but... But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Okay, so I did do that. I probably should be painting this brighter then, because I already painted it. I thought, oh, I'm doing it on the other side. Let's do that. So that means I should probably do that as well. So I did do some airbrush work where I was doing a highlight. I need to do, so I did some on Doctor Strange, and because there's a lot of glow, and I've shown this one over and over again. I did Dormammu, and I airbrushed the color. So I painted it yellow, then airbrushed like an orange and then a red, very, very lightly. And I think I put a little bit of white here on the shoulders. Let's see if that'll focus. On the shoulders, then sprayed some color over it. Looks like I need to touch this up. It's already gotten handled a lot. Wow, too much. And it's got varnish on it, so there you go. I don't know. But everybody looks at that one, they're like, oh my gosh. And it's cool, for sure. It turned out neat. Woof, that is sloppy looking. So I wonder if I need to paint the black first, just so I can see. I think I'm just going to go with it. I'm not going to paint, well, I'll paint a little bit of this. I think it's going to be thin enough. And see what it looks like. Maybe put a little bit more contrast medium in it just to make sure. I do now have that game. So you have Kingdom. So I have that plus the Gambler's Chest, which just showed up a little while back, and I'm excited to try it out at some point in time. But I would rather just play with somebody's setup that is mostly done, because goodness gracious. But I do want to try to put some together. I really was satisfied. I'm like, it'll be fine to have this, just to be able to do the. Look at the minis and stuff, because there's some cool stuff in there. But yipes. Okay, so bottom one is going to be this gold, this Iandin yellow. It may not be even enough silver underneath there. I don't know. That's very yellow. I mean, it's supposed to be a yellow. That looks pretty good, though. It's definitely brighter than the other side. Yipes. So there's that one. And I'm just going to go left to right on this that I have in my rack. So I have, first up is Bad Moon Yellow. I got to mix that up. I believe this is a single pigment. Do not have. I see. Okay. Yeah, that's an expensive game to get, and it is now. Parts of it are available in retail. I think they basically sold out of what they brought at Gen Con. I didn't get to go by their booth. There's so much I didn't get to do, both at Gen Con and at Spiel. I really wish I had time. I'd love to, particularly with my miniature craze, I would love to have had an opportunity to try out some of that stuff. You know, check out things. Okay, so I think that's enough. Let's just go with the straight color on it because it's bright. That is a yellow for sure. It probably will look pretty good though. So the next one is inline. Oh, that's very yellow. Less gold, more yellow. I will say though, if you look at the picture, I don't know, it looks kind of gold. Boy, it's still sticky. Did I use any kind of medium? No. That yellow looks good though. That is the Bad Moon. Is that right? I think so. They don't look that different, but they're close. It's definitely more yellow than gold. I could also just mix some of the ironed yellow into it to give it a bit of, wow, that looks much better though, I think, ultimately. Both of those look better than the other side. So that's the gold Bad Moon yellow. Let's try Imperial Fist. Yeah, contrast Imperial Fist. See how that goes. But yeah, we have a lot of games that have minis. I have the Batman one that Scott was nice enough to back 2 copies of it, and I'd love to paint it. I just haven't had time. I have like a Harry Potter game from Knight's Models that looks cool. Now they're more like, I think, I can't remember now. It's been a little while since I looked at it. Like a D&D scale figures. But they look great. And then, we don't have it all, but we got a lot of it. Oh, this one's pretty good. Wow. So this is the straight yellow. Actually, that's probably the one so far. Not that you probably can tell the difference, but I think, wow, they're very close. But I think that's the color. It's bright enough that it will work with the red. So, very cool. Okay, one last one here. Thanks, Michael. How you doing? Have you guys gotten married yet? I know that you proposed last year, 2021. Is that right? Or 20? No, it's 2022. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's try this one. So this one is Iron Jaws yellow, contrast Iron Jaws yellow. I don't think I used that on some Iron Jaws miniatures I had. I should have. Wedding is coming up February 25th. Fantastic. That's wonderful. I saw some of your Facebook photos or something, or Instagram, and you guys looked great. Looked happy, which is wonderful. We actually had to take a big break from gaming when we were getting married because there's just, even though it was not a huge marriage, it just is a ton of effort. Always, you know, and there's a lot of people's feelings on the line, and Nikki was actually pretty great about it all. It was just her mom's wants and expectations, you know, and her mom wasn't even being ridiculous. She was very, you know, initially she wanted us to get married in a church, but once that wasn't going to happen, it was cool, but it was just a lot of people's feelings and, you know, getting hurt that, because it was small. We weren't making a big deal out of it. And our friends were disappointed that we didn't invite them. And I'm like, you guys, we see you all the time and it's wonderful. You don't need to, you know, we buy you some gifts. We're like, we'd already lived together for a while at that point. So we didn't need anything. That was the other deal. But we should have invited them. I feel terrible about that one. That's a long time ago too now. We've almost been married it'll be 19 years. Wow, this one looks good too. That's a lot to say that they don't. Now, I'm not using him as a true contrast. It's basically a wash. Wow, I don't know. I kind of feel like, what is it again? Imperial Fist is the one to go with. But this other one is pretty great too. And truly the weakest one is the first one. Let me put a little bit more of that one on. I mean, this is kind of what you need to do. Now, this is the only version of this Mini that I have. So I probably should have done it on something else. That looks a little better with a second coat of it. And it's been thinned. These other ones are straight out of the pot. It's out of focus. I think I'm going to go with the Imperial Fist color. So I'm going to just try coating these other two and see what happens and just let it go with that. But that's exciting. And it was fun to try it out and check them out. I don't usually put that much thought into it. I generally just go with it. I'm not too concerned about color, but this, I've just been dissatisfied with the yellow. I was very dissatisfied with the, I mean, it's a good color. The Ironed in Yellow is a good color. But it's not a great yellow, just as it's, you have to thin it out because it's orange. And it was, funnily enough though, it was not the only orange. This is the other one, which I need to try. I mean, I don't think I've ever even opened it. No, that's not true. I've opened it. But I feel it's like this other orange I bought. Although you can't really tell. But when it's on the miniature, wow, this is way thinner. Like, speed paints are different. I have to really try them more and get some of the colors. But yeah, I was using this. I used that Fire Giant on these. Votan, or they're called Hearthkin. League of Votan. I like that orange a lot. So I bought a bottle of it, but it is the new version. Hey, Ickwig, thanks for the follow. Thanks, Kabuki Kid. We've been together a long time. We've been longer than that. It'd be 20 years since the marriage, but we've actually we met in college, and we have been together since 1993. So this is our 30th anniversary of us being together, and then we moved in together the next year, so that will be coming up here. It wasn't too long after we had the big earthquake, although it really wasn't that big of an earthquake, in 94, and not much longer after that we moved in together. But yeah, we've been together a long time. Nikki's awesome. Okay. It'll be interesting if we can update the other side so that it looks similar to this, because that will be an issue. So before I do the edge, I think I'm going to, and you know what I'm going to do here? I'm painting this, oops. Ugh, I'm painting it with the wrong paint. I'm going to paint the channel yellow as well, because I want it to be darker. But I'll probably I put a little bit of the red in there on the previous side. I think I'll do the same thing. It was kind of significant. We were in the valley. That's where I was, and still am. And it was strong, but it wasn't really, ultimately, it wasn't that big. It was 6.7 or something like that is what they said in the end, and they were saying it was like over 7. I mean, the scale, the way that stuff, it really ramps up a lot. But where we lived, well, Nikki didn't live there when the earthquake happened, but I think she moved in, like, during that stuff. Maybe she moved in after, because what happened was the building I lived in had enough damage that they wouldn't tag it green, meaning it was safe to live in. And I cleaned everything up, but I was like the other side, because there's a bunch of buildings around each other. The other side, where we that was in a different orientation than us. I think we were east-west and they were north-south. Gosh, that doesn't sound right. I think they were east-west and we were north-south. Somehow, I don't know. We had a different orientation than them. And we didn't suffer that much damage. Their building had walls that blew out because everybody was moving out. I'm like, wow, what happened? Why are they having so many troubles? And I went and looked in the building. I was working for architects at the time. And so I was intrigued as like what happened. And having seen the mess, I'm like, oh, I can see why people moved out. They did fix it up pretty quickly. But our building, they wouldn't green tag, and there wasn't that much damage. So we moved to another apartment in the complex. That might be when Nikki moved in. And then, of course, they green tagged the building. And I liked the other building better. But we had a bigger earthquake. I didn't live here in California. They had a big earthquake. Well, it was little too. In 71, my dad, I think that was 71 or 72, my dad was working here, working on an album or something like that. And I guess that was a pretty scary one. Now, that was particularly scary for my dad because he hadn't been in any earthquake prior to that, so. But it didn't stop him from wanting to move out here to work. It was, so there's one thing about that earthquake that was crazy though. It lasted a long time. Now, I don't know in the grand scheme of things if that's like that. I mean, I know other earthquakes have like kept happening and we had aftershocks, but it wasn't, it just was, so I had an apartment that I was sharing with my brother and he and his girlfriend were in that, and then he moved out. And so we shared an apartment, and she came, his girlfriend came into the room and was freaking out. I'm like, please stay still, stand in the doorway, and wait till the shaking is done. And so, and I had like CDs, CD racks, and a TV, and just there was all kinds of noise. The kitchen was a disaster. Everything in one direction emptied the cabinets, in the other direction everything was shaken up inside there, but it was still in the cabinets. It was really weird. But it was long enough that we knew about it. And then I had been in earthquakes prior to that, small ones, you know. I remember dreaming about an earthquake and then waking up because the earthquake was happening. And what was happening was it was just like the hangers, metal hangers in the closet that had nothing on them were like jangling. And I woke up like, oh, earthquake, and then fell back asleep before it was even done. And you shouldn't be carefree about them because you never know. But it was intriguing, that's for sure. That's 6.7 higher than I like. I will agree with you, I understand. They're not good. I mean, it was definitely some damaged stuff going on there. And so Nikki's family, she was living at home still. They're just a little bit west of us, but they barely had that much at all. I mean, we were able to go out and we tried to go get something to eat in town, and nothing was open except the McDonald's was open. And I had no money because, I was even then using ATMs and stuff like that a lot. And so I had very little cash. I don't do that now. And we couldn't get food, so we got what we did, and we shared like a McDonald's meal that had 2 cheeseburgers in it, maybe. I think that's what it was. And that was, and then, canned soda, because they couldn't, water wasn't, it was crazy. But you go west, and it was fine. You go to where we had, when we met at, working at a record store west of here, and that was all fine out there. It's funny, we had basically like a hurricane coming in this last summer, maybe earlier in the summer. Can't remember exactly when, but we had it. I knew it was unlikely that it would be anything for us, because we just don't have that kind of happen here. Lots of people that had earthquake concern did stuff. There's roaches in McDonald's. That is true. As we're having that rain, we get a notification. They have the alerts, and we got our first ever earthquake notification that there was an earthquake. So my mom was visiting with us. She was here. It was on a weekend, I think, and I call out, I read the phone, it says earthquake. I'm like, earthquake? I say it, the words are still coming out of my mouth, a little cartoon bubble, as they say in When I Met Sally. And we felt the earthquake. It was crazy, and it was out towards where Mike and Nick Murphy live. So I messaged them, I'm like, you guys okay? And Mike was in his car. So they were wondering, they felt it and were wondering what was going on. And then, I don't remember, Nick said he felt it, but it wasn't like, but they were closer to the epicenter than we were. But, and that's the reason why I question if they're okay, is because, that distance is like the quake was in 94. And the crazy thing was Nikki was over at the house that night. We were watching a movie. I had to go to work. My job, I was working for my teachers at the time, architecture stuff. And I was getting ready. We were watching movies, and then she went home. And then the earthquake was very early in the morning. And thank goodness they were fine, and she was not there for that mess. I mean, it wasn't, again, we didn't have like buildings fall down on cars. Now, I say that here, but over Northridge, where there was a lot of collapses, I don't know how many people perished. But at where Northridge was nearer to the epicenter, at the university there, California State Northridge, they had buildings all around there, and the parking structure that took a bunch of damage. They had a different kind of design in those. It was a soft story where there's not a lot of support. It was like on stilts, essentially. And those buildings collapsed, and it was a mess. And thankfully, it changed the building code. Happy Meals are expensive as hell, and half the time I get it, I already have. Now is the Nugget Crew. I am a big fan. Okay. We haven't been to McDonald's in a very long time, and then last year, I think at Thanksgiving, it seems wrong, but I think that it was, we went with my mom because we were going to Nikki's parents, but the dinner was going to be later. Her parents like to do it later than we do normally. And so we just went to get something to have light, so they wouldn't be too famished. And had their McNuggets, which I hadn't had in forever. And they were pretty good. Like the right kind of crunchy and stuff. Let me see if this is the package. Nope. I don't think they're going to get us that package today. Let's hope I can go pick it up, because it's, you know, going to go back east. Wow, this is really kind of dirty. I mean, metallics are weird. Yipes. Let's hope it helps. Do wish we had some music playing. I actually like listening to it. I felt one quake. The one in Washington D.C. was in Cape May, New Jersey. I thought it was a downdraft from a chopper at first. Wow. Closer to New York City. That's the only quake you were ever in as well. Scott was in one. They had one in Texas too, you know, not that long ago. And I think, I mean, what I heard at the time was that that was related to fracking. I don't know if that's true. Isn't that what they said in Battlestar Galactica, frack? They're weird. Earthquakes are weird for sure. And you don't want to be in one if you can help it. It's just not worth it, but we live here. I don't regret moving to California. I did. I mean, I spent a good amount of time in Colorado. But it's hard. You know, this kind of city is very large, spread out, and it's a little frustrating, you know, sometimes. Just getting around. We went to go see a concert last weekend, and it was just downtown, which is not really that far away, but it is, like, during the weekend. Actually, it was on Friday. It was on Saturday. In my head, it was supposed to be Friday. Oof, that looks terrible on this side. Ugh. I'm not going to paint it yet. Resist all temptation and do a little bit more silver, then do it. We actually put some silver on that too. Yipes. Frack. I haven't watched that. Nikki likes, I mean, I like Battlestar Galactica a lot. Nikki watched it many times. I watched it at least twice. We watched it when it was on the air, waiting for them. And then our friend Erin had never seen them, so we watched them with her. A lot of people were disappointed with that ending, but it didn't bother me. It's hard to stick the landing, you know, all these shows make you think that they have like a plan for the whole thing, but I don't think they ever do. Ugh, this is terrible on this side. Dirty. So I'm using the paint thinned out quite a bit, so that might be affecting, I mean, I'm sure it's affecting. It's not thinned out a lot. I am using airbrush thinner. But I mean, I don't know how good this metallic medium is at coverage. Lobo in the comic books also used to say fracking as a quasi-curse. Am I going to serenade? No, Barry, I'm not going to serenade. I would probably run into copyright issues. It's not like I know songs of my own. I mean, I could probably play. We have my brother. I helped write some songs on a record a long time ago, and I could probably get away with playing that one. Wouldn't run into any copyright strikes. But that would be too distracting. Come on, focus. I was thinking about it earlier. I was never really a comic book person. I read some when I was in high school and college. I read some graphic novels, but that was not my interest. And whoa, knocking down my drink. Let's put that over here. But I was like really into music. I mean, that was, and I was thinking, I'm like, oh, well, that's what I did. Instead of reading comics, I put all my money into buying records. And I mean, I have a lot of CDs. I have not stopped buying CDs, regardless of what is happening with everything. Wow, I'm getting silver everywhere. It's on my fingers. Yuck. Yuck. But yeah, I have a lot. We have a lot of CDs. Plus, when Nikki and I were going out, I bought her. Gosh, I must have gotten her a lot of records pretty quick because we didn't go together that long before we moved in. I don't think I bought her any CDs then, but I would get her stuff that I thought, you got to have this record, of course. And then we moved in and we had two of them. She's busy making cookies. But yeah, we're having Christmas dinner here, which is good, but it's a lot of, I have a couple more things I need to do for around the house. You still, yeah, I would prefer the disc too. Well, it's a lot of download. Sandman, Nikki's read Sandman, but yeah, I buy physical media. I have a few. Obviously, I can't get physical media for the MetaQuest or anything like that, but I'm where I like to have it so that I could, because sometimes they aren't available anymore. I actually have some old software from the mid-90s, maybe, that thankfully I had the discs. Although there is the like an Internet Archive that saves a lot of installs. You can get the games. I did have to get one for a game that Nikki and I had fun with. That was basically kind of a Tetris-y kind of thing. I think called Marbles. Does that sound right? Like a Sega, and I think that was download only anyway. But I couldn't find my information on it. It had to be one of the first digital games that I, like bought and downloaded. Marbles, that doesn't sound right, but I think that's it. Yeah, there's a lot of music like that, Kabuki Kid. Yeah, Baking Cookies. I, as a matter of fact, like even before all that, there was this band that I heard, like local radio station played it as a DJ choice a couple of times. They used to have like the last track before the end of the hour was a DJ choice. And it was this band called, gosh, what were they called? They were called German band. Palais Schaumburg. And, you know, they were not even big in Germany. And I had to count on my memory of that song. And I really liked it. I didn't record it off the radio or anything like that. I never did any of that. And finally, in the 2000s probably, there was, it may still exist, there was a thing called GEMM, G-E-M-M, and it was record stores could put their stuff online and then they'd ship it to you. And so I ordered the single and the 12-inch of that. The funny thing is I think the 12-inch does not sound great. And then now I can find that on, the way to find songs that you like, that if you're lucky, that you can't find on CD and stuff like that, is YouTube. And I found a better version, you know, this is many years later, found like a better rip of the LP. But it's funny. That looks pretty good. It's pretty golden there. Probably use another coat. A friend of mine pointed me to an interesting podcast where a guy was going crazy seeking out a song he remembered from the 90s and went all lengths to find out what it was. Huh. Did he ever figure it out? Digital games for indie games. That's exactly correct. There's just no way you're going to get there's no way you're going to get another version of it. It's very unlikely. That's the good thing about, like, used to be CD Baby, now Bandcamp. Is it Bandcamp? No. I still buy some stuff there. Gosh, that's not right. It's not Bandcamp, is it? This band that we went to see, they have one record that is only downloadable, and I want to buy it from, gosh darn it, I don't know. And that would be cool. Get me the link for sure. Got people together to perform the music to the best of memory, talk to music producers. Wow, that's cool. That's the funny thing about it. Like, if you're looking for it, okay, there we go. It's on both chats. Kabuki Kid's the best because I'm going to take that. Missing hit. Cool. Man, he could have been the same kind of thing as me, because Southern California had all kinds of stuff playing. I wonder what it is. I'll have to check it out. That's from 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. K-Rock was the station here in LA. They're not. I mean, I haven't listened to them forever now, but they were a pretty cool station back in the day. I got tired of them though. And I'm like a huge fan of Thomas Dolby. And I was in school, you know, like doing art projects. And this had to have been like 80, I don't know what year it would have been, 83 or 4. And they kept playing She Blinded Me by Science. Like, and I heard it one more time and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And I just stopped listening to them for a long time. It was just too much playlist, and it's not the fault of that song. I love that song. And about that same time, I stopped watching TV, so. Hey, Time Roller. An AI bot. Come on, that's not true. It's a very helpful AI bot if that's the case. Aye. Ugh, I'm making a mess. I just want to clean this up a little bit. Although I'm seeing like where I didn't get the yellow on it. I closed that up and put it away. I sure did. Probably not ready to be put away. This is kind of Iron Man-y as far as the color scheme, so, which is silly. That looks better. We had K-Rock in New York City, WXRK. Also broadcasts Howard Stern. Is that a like an affiliate of one of them, like CBS or something like that? We K-Rock was KROQ here in LA. It's still around, but it's not the same people running. I mean, there was a lot of folks that were there for a long time. I don't know if Rodney Bingenheimer is still on there, but he was on for decades. I believe he has a show on... Woof, what happened there? I believe he has a show on Sirius. It used to be... I mean, in my timeline, I recall it as only ever being on Sunday nights. Maybe it just kept getting later. That might have been the problem, but poor guy. And he just kept doing it. And I mean, Jackie knew him, right? Because he ran the English disco. I mean, lots of questionable things happened with that stuff back in the day, and unfortunate. But you know, that's like the English disco was where like Van Halen started off, I think. Now, you know, they're from Pasadena, so they probably played elsewhere, but they were obviously trying to make it happen. I was not aware. I was too young for all that stuff. Though my dad was in the business, we didn't do a lot of the clubs like the Roxy and stuff like that till later. I think the Roxy, Mark Maron had an interview with Lou Adler, and it's celebrating its 50th anniversary. Lou Adler was the one that, started that club. I don't think he still owns it or anything like that, but Lou Adler was like the manager or producer of things, you know, like Cheech and Chong and stuff like that. So I want to listen to that. I actually didn't listen to it. Jackie just had a birthday. I need to contact her. I've not talked to her for a while. We've just been really too darn busy. This is the first day that in a long time that I was doing other things besides... I still was uploading a video, but I wasn't doing all those other things that I normally do. The goal is to not have too much to do next week. I still will have things to do, and we will stream, but I'm just trying to do a little bit less because, goodness, it's just been nonstop. But I got a chance to watch some videos, stuff that I follow on YouTube. That's kind of mostly what I watch. And I haven't listened to many podcasts in a little while because I've just been so busy I can't think about it. This is strange. Oh, wait. Okay, that's his hand. His feet are different. Hey, I got red on the feet. Man. I'll have to touch that up. Boo. Didn't even catch that. Hey, thanks for the follow, Kurtalos. We did go, so the show we went to go see had a guy named Chris Stamey open, who was, who still does albums and produces and stuff like that. But I hadn't even thought about him. I was never a huge fan of their stuff. He was in a band called the DBs. So I was probably too young for it. But he's like, I was like wondering how old he is. He's like nearly 70. I was like, wow, he looked pretty great. And he sounded good. Nikki was a little saying he was struggling, but I thought he did a good job singing all those old songs. Online trivia. Jackie's good at the trivia stuff. She's involved with some folks here in LA that you know, some like Jeopardy people and stuff like that. I am not that good with trivia. But yeah, it was like the reason why I even thought about like, oh, that's what I did, is I just have like this ridiculous memory for music mostly. You know, I'm like, and I just go, oh, that's what I did. And that's fine. You know, you do what you're interested in. I'm sure it helped that my dad was in the business, that it was interesting to me. But I'm thinking songs in my head right now. It's intimidating to see other trivia champs. That's, I bet. I know you're on the East Coast. We are just getting rain right now. Today was a pretty rainy day. And hopefully, I mean, we need rain, so I'll take as much as we can get, but hopefully we have a little bit of a break. Okay. So the eyes, I closed it all, and those eyes, let me decide how I'm going to do those. Are they going to be metallic, or I'm going to do white? I think I'll do white, and I of course put the white away. Do I really want to do white? I think I do. Did she win 4 games? I couldn't remember whether that was the case. I think she's been back though. But it would be cool if they had her back. I haven't watched it since Alex has passed away, so it's weird too, because he just seems so young. You know, not terribly young, but young, like he wasn't that old. And so that was a little shocking to see that he passed. People loved him, for sure. Okay. I definitely want to thin that out. It's too much paint. That's the only thing I don't like about the dropper bottles like this. This type of lid that they have on these. It's just too much paint gets trapped in the lid and then it just comes out. So I'll put it on the palette hoping to use it, but I generally don't. Although it's good, the palette's great, dries and it just pops out. I cleaned them out earlier today. I had painted the base of silk with one of the shades, not one of the contrast paints. And so I did a couple coats, but I had way more in there than I needed. And it dried into a nice little disc. You watch this show daily? Wow, that's cool. I saw that they're not going to go forward with oh man, what's her name? Bialik? And that's too bad. I mean, I didn't watch the show. I never saw the old show, Blossom. Was that her show? But we did watch some of Big Bang Theory, and she was good. And she's super smart, so. It's always exciting to hear. The one that freaks me out, I believe, is the Offspring singer is like, a doctor has a doctorate. But the guy, he does not, I'm sure he's smart, but lyrically, yipes. I don't like Offspring's lyrics. But lead singer from Bad Religion, another guy that's super smart and with a doctorate and teaches. Oof. Yeah, Brian May. Mayim Bialik, yeah, something like that. Helmut Frank. Well, Brian May, you just hear about he and his dad making the record and making the guitar and the amplifier, like building this out of, and they used it all the time. That guitar amp was used all the time. It was like a specific sound. That's just awesome. Yipes. Making a mess. I can hear the rain. Yeah, okay. Woof, it's too much. Okay, let's do the other side of black there. Never rains in Southern California, according to the song. Not entirely true, but not entirely wrong either. It does not rain often. We've had a lot of rain this last year, which was really helpful. I mean, all of California, we really needed the reservoirs. You know, it's funny, all these people, oh, hey, the drought is over. Like, no, it needs to rain like this a lot for it to not be a drought. It's the one thing I wish that we could control better, but we just can't. Nikki's parents were frustrated because, you know, their yard died. You had to keep the yard alive in the front because of the homeowners association, but the backyard is bad, and I hadn't seen it. But they're bitter about it, and I don't blame them. You know, they planted all that stuff, but the thing is like, you really can't. It's just wasteful. We don't have an actual yard. I mean, we have an area, but we have tree bark that's probably floating away right now. Because we kept trying. You know, Nikki wanted a yard, and so we tried. And the problem is, I feel like we live on the surface of the sun here. It is very, the ground gets really hot, and the grass just cannot make it. We'd have to just constantly water, and that doesn't seem good. HOAs are of the devil. That is true. It's especially weird in their community. They actually live, I believe they live what would be known as Cuesta Verde from Poltergeist. That was actually kind of a combination of two places. That was, the houses were where she lived, and then the view when they were up at the cemetery in that movie looking down. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen that movie from 40 years ago. But I think that was 82. That was up in Simi Valley, which is north of where she grew up. She didn't actually grow up there. She grew up right in this area. They moved there when she was like a teenager or preteen. But I didn't finish. They moved in that area, and then later there was a homeowners association. And that is the worst. Like, who would want to have that start up? All their well, not all of their mailboxes. A lot of their mailboxes are little houses, you know, like made out of wood with shingles and everything. And those were the original mailboxes. And a lot of people don't want to get rid of them, but the homeowners association wanted everybody to buy some new mailbox that everybody would have. Like, who cares? And, you know, that was like, you had to buy a specific one from a specific place. So that just screams, you know, somebody's manipulating the system there to benefit somebody. And her dad is just so against the whole thing. And I do not blame him. That looks pretty good on this side. '82, there you go. We watched it. I bought the Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray a little while back, and we watched it. Hadn't watched it in ages. Yeah, the reason why I was pretty certain it was '82 because it's the same year that E.T. came out. And that was a very different kind of movie that Spielberg was involved in, you know. Best PG horror movie there is. True. It's pretty great. The Thing, oh my gosh, The Thing is so amazing. But Poltergeist, we were talking about that with Scott, that, you know, there's one scene in that movie that just is so disturbing, and, you know, it's not the greatest effect anymore, but it's still pretty shocking. It's very bird-like. I hope that white is dry because, yeah, it was everything after. I mean, not only was that in '82, so was Blade Runner, same time frame. Maybe beforehand, just before, but a lot of great films. I mean, I love Blade Runner. It's pretty much my all-time, one of my all-time favorite movies. Don't know E.T. was pretty creepy to a young one. Yeah, it's probably so. It was pretty great, though. I think we want. I mean, I think we have the 4K disc of that, maybe. Hmm. I like every version of that movie, and I have no problem with the voiceover stuff on it. It does not bother me. They make a big deal about it, like it was against the director's wishes, but he he said in an interview at one point, probably on the big Blu-ray they did a while back, Blu-ray and HD DVD back in the day. He said that he would do anything. You know, he was trying to make the movie a success, and he felt that if people were lost, then it needed it. I don't. It doesn't. I don't live or die by it, but I mean, I do not have a problem with it, and I think it's a good film. It's weird, like how the movie didn't do terribly, but it, you know, I mean, it didn't make any impression till later. That's the crazy part. It affected me though. This is not enough red. Seeing firsthand here what this is like with the smooth areas with the contrast paints. You have to put it on a little heavy, then which leads to, you know, coffee staining if you're not fortunate. Focus. Wow, what is it? Is it seeing those brushes down below? It is anything shiny. But yeah, I used to go to the record stores every week and specifically looking for new releases and, you know, like following that stuff. So it would be my equivalent to comics. It's funny too because I was like, oh, That was my realization today. Like, oh, that's why. Oh, really? I didn't have any friends that were in comics either, really. We were all into music. Ridley Scott basically decided what a cyberpunk world. He and Ron Cobb and who were the other people that worked on that? We did watch, there was a Blade Runner anime show on Adult Swim, I think. It was okay. And I thought the 2049 movie was okay. I was actually happy that Ridley Scott did not direct it. Only because he's fine. I had a conversation with my friend and I'm like, because he's a huge fan. And I said, well, think about it. Think about the movies that he has done. How many of them are truly great? Now, that's a great movie, and I don't love Gladiator, but people love it. But then you've got things like, oh gosh, White Squall, I think, and Columbus 1492, and they're just not great. And that's okay. You don't have to make everything great. But I just don't think he's bulletproof. He makes movies that look great, that is for certain. I did not see... goodness, what's that movie called? Oh my gosh. It's the Alien. One he kept denying was Alien, and it was Alien. Prometheus. And Nikki did. She was so... it does look gorgeous. I like The Arrival. I'm excited about Dune 2. I wish it was going to be this now instead of like some March or something, I think is what they're saying. I would have liked to have seen it in the theater. Our friends in Germany are like, you've got to go see it in the theater. Like, I don't know if it's playing in any theaters. Focus. I think Nikki's making sugar cookies right now. She made some ones that I had never had before meeting them, her family. They're date pinwheels, which are very good. So she makes those now because her mother hasn't made cookies in forever. And she's made them for a while. And Nikki. And then there's a cookie that my mom does that I like called the Swedish creams, which she's like, I didn't make those. I'm like, what? I'm the only one that likes them. I'm like, I think you're wrong, because Nikki really loves them, and I like them. I can't eat all that stuff, but I have some. Ridley Scott's made some duds. He's made a lot of duds. When you really look back at it all, I watched Black Rain, finally. I never saw it back in the day because I heard it wasn't very good. And I watched it a few years back, and it was disappointing, And, not everything's going to be great. Scott is messaging me. He's looking at the tracking for this package that we're waiting for. Hold on, everybody. Hey, let me close that up for now. I do like this red, though. It's cool. It does look like Iron Man, though, like what I was trying to do with Iron Man. And the dry brush, I think, is successful. That's totally fine. But yeah, I don't know, Ridley's old. He's 80-something now. Not to say that you can't do good stuff still. But I just was happy that he wasn't doing it, because I wanted something else. And, he basically is of a mind that Deckard is not a replicant, I believe. Or maybe he does, I don't know. Because I remember there was a bit of a spat, nothing big, of course, between Denis Villeneuve on the new one, where he didn't, I think he wanted him to be a replicant, is what he wanted. And Denis Villeneuve wanted to leave it, to be interpreted by the viewer. And that is, to me, the right way to do it, whether that's, I don't know, I feel Ridley, that is exactly correctly. I feel Ridley retroactively decided that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm correct, because he's a pretty visionary person, and he could have decided to go that route. But I believe Hampton Fancher, one of the screenwriters, did not like that idea, because it's not, whatever reason. Here's the deal. For me, it removes the arc. If he's a replicant, like, I don't know. I haven't watched Blade Runner in a while. I should watch it again. Sugar cookies are pretty great. Nikki, I don't know, everybody's changing the recipe all the time. I don't know if Nikki's sticking with one now, but they kept looking for something. I'm like, and I love, I grew up with my mom's cookies, so I really love my mom's cookies, but my mom is changing the gingerbread man all the time. It's like, those are my, I just got that all over the place. Those are my favorite cookies, probably. And she was making them so they just weren't that great. I'm like, what? Why are you changing these? But, she's making them, trying to do something different with them. I did hear a song the other day from Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne. I'd never heard it. It's never been released. And it was pretty great. I'm like, dang. I mean, it sounds like Jeff Lynne more than Roy Wood. I don't know Wizard that well. I know the Move. It was called Me and You, but it was from 1989, so it's the time frame of George Harrison's. Oh, that was 87. George Harrison's Cloud 9-ish. I mean, that's one thing about Jeff Lynne, that I love ELO, all the old ELO and stuff, but his production sounds like Jeff Lynne, Most of the time you hear a song, you're like, oh, well, that's Jeff Lynne. But, you know, the Free Fallin' or the Full Moon Fever was the name of the album. That was a good Tom Petty album. But it definitely sounds like Jeff Lynne. That's so terrible. It is rough. I had a hard time getting this blade smooth on this side here, and it's not even great. But I'm afraid to even paint this other side. I'm painting it with a thinner version of the paint, so, well, more contrast medium. This is very Iron Man-y. I think I need more paint, which sucks. Let me see if I can get this done on this side before having to put another. You kind of want to keep going with the wet edge, and I am out. And it's too thick now. This is the problem with this. That It Never Rains in Southern California song, I had when I was working for an architectural office 20 years ago, and my boss was like, he said he was disappointed that the song It Never Rains in Southern California turned out to be not true. Like, well, we need rain, so it's good that it's not true. What's my favorite Christmas song? Oh yeah, Traveling Wilburys, another one. I love Traveling Wilburys too. I mean, I love Jeff Lynne. He has a sound. And it's pretty funny. I don't know. I love a lot of Christmas songs. Rock Around the Christmas Tree is a great one. Brenda Lee has got a great voice. I guess she hasn't been singing for a while, but retired a few years back. But she's amazing. I mean, White Christmas is a great song. I'm trying to think of, you know, Do They Know It's Christmas? You know, it's like from my youth. That was pretty good. But it's not a great song. And heck, I gotta say, you know, Mariah Carey, they give her a lot of crap, but that song is a pretty, sounds good still. I don't own it, but I'm sure I can listen to it on any of the music services we have. But it's a good song. Jingle My Bells, I don't know that one. Ho Ho Fing Ho by Kevin Bloody Wilson. I gotta listen to that. Mine is Ho Ho Fing Ho. I do not know that one. I'm not a crazy Christmas music person. I mean, not saying that you are, Barry, but since my dad passed away, and that's more than 20 years ago, Christmas music has really taken a back seat for me because it was a big deal for my dad. He loved Christmas, loved the Christmas music, and so not having him around for Christmas is rough. I don't, as we've gotten further along, I don't think about them as much as I used to, which is a bummer. But Christmas was a big deal for us, and it was always, the parents, even when they had financial issues, tried hard to give us a nice holiday, and it was great. I mean, it was always a fun, few days and up all of it. That's the other thing. I feel I don't have the opportunity to really appreciate the holidays anymore, and that's one reason why I want to try to take it easy here this weekend, next week. But it is weird. There's definitely some like rock era, even modern-y rock Christmas songs that are pretty good. I just can't think of them right now. We don't play that very often. We mostly, I haven't been whammed the Whamageddon yet. I'm shocked. Nikki does not care for a Wonderful Christmas Time by McCartney. And it basically, the day before, November 30th, we were in a store and they were playing. She's like, "You're kidding me." So that's her Whamageddon thing, McCartney. I don't mind it. I was actually thinking about War's Over. What is the name of the song? Lennon. I like that one. A little bit too much Yoko, but what are you going to do? He loved her. Take care, Kabuki Kid. Have a good one. Take care, everybody. Have a great holiday. I'm about done, too. Let's see, what time is it now? Kabuki's 3 hours ahead of us, so of me in LA. It is 7:32. I will probably finish this shoulder, and then I'll have to be done. I got things to do and people to see. I wish the part that I really wish, I need to go shopping, and I probably should go tonight. Just for one thing, it's something I cannot order, or I would have. I could order it, but they were saying like it wasn't available, and I'm just going to go get. It's for Nikki. I think it's like a great idea for her, and so I want to go get it. She's like, "Please don't buy me any more stuff." I'm like, "Oh, this is something I really want you to have, and I wish I'd thought of it sooner." But we've been waiting for this package, spending all day here, and they said they were going to try another delivery today. I don't believe they did. I don't believe they tried the other 2 times. We were here every time. They're like, "So somebody wasn't there?" I'm like, "There's been somebody here every time." I actually like the Three Wise Men's Christmas song, "Thanks for Christmas," which is actually XTC. That was a great song. I guess "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" finally got to #1 this year before Mariah Carey reached #1 again with "All I Want for Christmas Is You." It's not the greatest, but it's good. I don't own it. Hey, thanks for the follow, Kevin Jaden. I'm just about ready to wrap it up, though. I'm going to try to raid somebody, but I will have to go. I'll have to leave the camera because of the not being able to call. I could actually probably dial in now, but I'd have to go and get a new password, so I have to leave anyway. But we'll see if there's somebody to raid today. I need to write Ruel. He's trying to do something. I haven't. He lost his. They had dropped his TikTok. Not his TikTok. His Twitch channel. You know, it was a mistake. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, nobody's going to be doing anything. These people are reasonable folks. It's so silly. That looks cool. The downer is, you know, any shading I had is lost, which wasn't very good anyway. So I'm going to have to go in and figure something out because I would like to have. Looks like it's cracking. It is cracking. And I've seen that that's a problem with some of the speed paints. So I'm going to have to fix that. Have to do this leg. Let me actually just do this little bit here that I've been wondering how it will look. I'm sure you just put black on it, it'll be fine. But this little hole here that should be milled out, it was on the original 3D printed model for the Kickstarter. But it is different. Very cool. Let me close this yellow. I don't want to leave it open. That's the biggest mistake, is leaving these paints open. They dry pretty quickly and get thin, and it's like get thick, and it's bad. I did it with the contrast medium a couple months ago, and I didn't even notice. You know, I mean, it looked like it was closed, and I picked it up. I'm like, wow, this is open. So it'd probably been at least a weekend or more. Trying not to paint because I have the red coming down the back here. So I'm trying not to mess that up. Now I'm not using a black here. I'm using Basilicanum Gray, which I like as a black. Maybe it's Happy Christmas. I can't remember the name of that song, though. I just War is Over is the parenthetical on that. Merry Christmas, War is Over, I think is the name of the song. Ooh, there's another one of those on that hand I need to do. A little bit of silver on. Let's do that. So this is Christmas, War is Over. Okay, thank you, Barry. She started the week after Thanksgiving. We did not do that in our house. My dad was a last-minute Christmas shopper, which was always funny to me, because, you know, he loved it, but he liked going out and shopping, and we wouldn't see him that whole day. Like, literally, Christmas Eve, I think it was often how it went. And that's one of the things that's weird. Like, you know, you don't buy it all online, which, I mean, believe me, it's too hard. Like, I used to love to go find something to buy people, and you just can't do that anymore because, first of all, there's not that much to buy. You don't see that much. It's not to say you wouldn't find anything if you went to the mall or something. I don't like going to the mall anymore. But I used to love it too. But I would not do it the day of Christmas Eve. I would not do that. My dad was crazy. Well, there you go. I haven't even painted Penny yet, but I painted whatever the name of the mech that she's riding. I think she's like super. If it's the same character in, man, I need to figure that out. That is just weird. I wish I had another version of this, but that does look kind of like a barrette. And maybe that's the deal. Maybe I should look her up and see if that's like a common thing. But it looks to me like it's molded in there, and is definitely not in the original sculpt. Anywho, I hope you all have a great Christmas. We won't be back on streaming till next Tuesday, so Boxing Day. It'll be me painting, I guess. Maybe Nikki will join me. I don't know. And then, gosh, I wish I could sign in. But yeah, have a great Christmas if you celebrate that. I have plenty of friends, Jewish friends, and friends that do Kwanzaa. They still do the Christmas. Christmas is pretty ingrained in our system. But I remember my friends, my like first like college age Jewish friends, brother and sister, they would go and find the places that were open on Christmas Day. You know, they would go have Chinese food, or I can't remember the other one. Maybe that was New Year's Day, because they would often be here for New Year's. And we would go to Chili's. But yeah, if you do celebrate, have fun. If not, have a great day off. Go see a movie. That's another big thing people do on Christmas Day. And I will go try to raid. I'll keep talking to you, but I will go try to raid. And hopefully we all will have a mellow time. I definitely want it myself. Hey, close that paint bottle. I gotta make sure these are closed. One of the things I do, if I close the paint bottle and move it to the rack, I generally get it correct, that it's actually closed. Anywho, I hope you all are doing well and totally prepared, able to take it easy. And then we will be streaming again. Probably, we will be streaming on Sunday. I think I've already booked it for 7 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And then be prepared. By that time, we will have put out the longest Game Night episode ever. Let's see here if we can raid. Okay. Goodness. Creator dashboard, stream manager, all this stuff. So let's see what we can do. Wow, Gen Con streaming. I wonder what the Super Mario RPG is. Well, let's go visit. Well, it's a video game. Maybe we'll just do that. So, if you can, on Twitch, you can join in the raid. Bonsinator is playing the Super Mario RPG, which I don't know. But join in, and sorry for the folks with YouTube. Sorry you can't do this. It's one of the great things about Twitch is the rating is awesome. So everybody say hello for me, and have a great evening and a great weekend and a great Christmas. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. And take care, YouTubers. Take care.